All right, late night napping. I've got a piece of Georgetown here. I've been trying to make some of these types of points, the so-called sloth slayer types. I'm not sure, but I think it's a resharpened. It looks like a resharpened Wells point or something like that. I got to look it up again. Anyway, I think I'll be trying that again on video. I just put a bunch of new tips on all my tools. It's all 16 penny except for one. This one, this one's a 20 penny nail, box nail. The others are 16 pennies. I got a bunch of Georgetown. I bought over 100 pounds. Let's see. Well, maybe 80 pounds. Some of it's good quality, some of it's okay, I guess. Some of it's not so good. How do you tell the difference when you're buying it? The only thing you can do is look at the color. The way I do it, the lighter colors tend to be better than the darker ones as far as strength. They hold together better, but you never can tell. If the guy selling the stone or the gal selling the stone is knowledgeable, they can recommend stuff. Or they might have some bifaces available. Well, those can get kind of pricey. That's why everyone's interested in spalling, I think. Now that I think about it, it's cheaper to buy the nodules and then spall it yourself than to buy the bifaces. That's for sure. Yeah, this type of point, long and narrow points in general, but this type of point takes up a lot of material. See how much width you have to lose? You have to lose quite a bit of width. You could try working long, narrow pieces, but they are very difficult to work, obviously. Especially if they're clunky. Not very good success rate on some of those. Now, can I go really narrow in the beginning and just narrow it all down and then nap it? Yeah, I think you can do that. I mean, it's a strategy. Sometimes that works well. Just to get it over with in the beginning. Nap it all down. Leave it bulgy in the middle and then thin it down as the last stage. Or you can just keep thinning gradually. I'm kind of attacking the thick spots first after removing the square edge, as they call it. That's as good a name as any. And I figured out why I talk so fast in some of the videos. I'm trying to talk in between the scratchings because the volume goes up and down. because I was annoying myself there for a little while. So what I'll do is I'll slow the speech down and speed up the abrading or the scratching or the hitting, striking. I was watching an old video just now before I turn this one on, or before I turn the camera on. I noticed that I sounded kind of depressed in some of those videos. Probably because I was. Foot napping helped a lot back in those days. Because I'm kind of an introverted type of person. And my job required me to be in a noisy shop around a lot of people most of the day, answering some phone calls, talking to people in a serious way. Because they would usually call. If they're calling, it was usually because of some issue, some problem. Who made these planes up? Who drew them? Gotta call that guy. So they call me. You're the guy that did these plans here, huh? Yeah. Well, there's a mistake right there. What are you gonna do about it? Well, I got this fancy computer that can print you out an edited version really fast. It's an amazing technology. I didn't say that, but that's what I did. Print out another one. Sorry about that. Okay. You can see what I mean. I'm going to lose a lot of width for that. I'm going to probably sell this as a practice point in the auction coming up. Which reminds me, I am probably, until further notice, do the auctions only on Mondays. Yep. But I'll announce it. I'll make an announcement. Because it saves a lot of time if I don't have to worry about the auction except for that one day. Because I try to monitor the comments. I wanted to have plenty of time to respond to issues, but no one usually has issues until the last minute. So I'm going to reduce it down to one day. I hope it's benefiting somebody other than me. You know, I hope you're seeing what actually is in demand out there. What kind of points are in demand? How much people are willing to spend? That sort of thing is very interesting. In case you're just tuning in, you can look at the other past auction videos. A lot of them have more views than my regular videos. Yeah, a lot of that is just the people checking their bids. But still, you know. The views are good for the channel. YouTube tries to promote some of them sometimes. Okay, so this is the first stage preform. I don't know if it's the first stage. But anyway, this is a kind of a preform stage, although I think if it was really a preform, it'd be a lot narrower. So maybe it's a trade blank stage, but this is when the mentality switches to thinning and making sure I've got the right proportions for this type of point. Now these points are fairly thick. But not really thick. So this is when I think about that stage. How thick is it? Now if it's an art piece, I don't think about that at all. Unless I want to make something really thin. Now why not make something really thin? Because it won't break as easy. Both in manufacture and in use, it doesn't break as easy. That's interesting. Little mosquito. Mosquitoes are out. Wonderful stuff. When I go back to Vermont, they're going to be all over the place too, I think. I'm not coming back to Texas until October. I'm going to be away from the Texas summer for the first time in many, many years. Many, many years. Looking forward to the not being in 100-degree weather. Gosh, that'll be so nice. I don't know, should I make a Clovis? I made one earlier. Same stuff. Nice little Georgetown piece. Why don't I make some Folsom points? Yeah. Well, I keep asking myself that question because there's some serious money in that one. Folsom reproductions. Even if they're made with jigs. People love those. I just don't have any desire to make those. I've made a few before, and that was it. They were tiny. Flutes didn't go all the way to the tip, and they weren't thin enough, but they look like Folsoms. I said, no. They take me forever because you got to set up everything perfectly. Oh, yeah, yeah, you got to set up everything perfectly. That's the best way to do them. And the material helps if it's perfect also. And you don't know until you start knapping the material whether it's going to be sweet or messed up. If it's a messed up piece of material, you got to put it aside and say, nope, this isn't going to work for the Folsom probably. Or you have to heat treat it or something a little bit to get it easier to run flakes on. In my case, anyway. Some guys can do those raw, on raw stone with jigs. Pretty impressive stuff. How did they do it back in the day? Many different methods. By all indications, they were not all made the same way. In many, I would say 4 or 5 different ways. Some of them have narrow flutes. Some of them have wide flutes. Those are 2 different technologies, right? The really narrow flute can be done with pressure. A skinning flake, narrow. You can do that with pressure. You know, if you're a big enough guy or strong enough. I've seen Folsoms, 2 of them. They look like Midlands with these long, narrow flutes down the middle, both sides. I would consider that Folsom. And it looked like they were made from heat treat. These are in a museum that I had access to. I can probably do that. As far as strength required for that kind of pressure flake. But the wide flutes and very, very thin cross section, I would probably have to go ahead and either buy a jig or make a jig to do that. Which I might do since everyone is asking me. Not everyone, but since I've had many people ask me. Can you do one of those? They don't ask me as often anymore because they know I don't do it. They'll ask me about Clovis now because they know I do those. Anyway, I'm trying to get this as regular as possible. It just makes it easier. Just makes it easier because it's got some pressure flaking. This type of point has serrations with really neat pressure flakes in between. A little bit too much off there, but it's okay. This is how I start Clovis also. Except this is a bit too narrow at the top. But, you know, I start with about this thickness, this width. Let's see. 1 3/4 by 3/8. I don't know why it always looks thicker when I'm looking at it with my eyes. The viewfinder makes it look skinnier. I don't know. Alright, 3/8. 1 3/4 by 3/8. Yeah. At least as far as the base of a Clovis goes when I'm making one. And then I'll run a thinning flake up one side at this stage. And then it takes me forever to do the second flute. First flute is very quick. Second flute takes forever. Sometimes the second flute is nice, sometimes it's not nice. Or sometimes the second flute is nicer than the first one. Sometimes it's not. You know, I don't know what the proportion is. Sometimes I reflute the first side. Depends on how thick it is. If it's really thick and I think it needs to be thinned down, I'll send another thinning flake over the old flute. It usually works as long as the second one is wider, right? Then it looks cool. If it's not wider, it looks kind of weird. Usually it is wider just because of the properties of the fracturing. It'll encompass the entire fluted area. So that's not much of not much of an issue. So we had a little bit of a celebration here, Cinco de Mayo. Margaritas, that kind of thing. I don't drink all that much, so I took like a little bit of that. Had a little bit of that, and that's enough. That's enough. Smoked a cigar. If you see me at Knapping's, you'll see me light up a cigar every now and then, or a pipe. But I limit that as much as I can. On my free time or my spare time, I usually don't do that. I wait for a special occasion. Alright. Actually, I'm starting to get a little sleepy, so I think what I will do, I'm still going to make some other points tonight. So instead of messing this up on video, I might make another, well, no. Let's see. I was thinking maybe I should just make a different kind of point out of it, but I already started it. I already started with it. I got plenty of this stuff, so yeah, I'll just continue, but what I'll do is I'll do some research overnight or in the morning. Figure out the exact proportions of these things and figure out if it's a resharpened Wells point or some other type. Figure out what the average width is. These pressure flakes in between the serrations meet in the middle on the real ones. That one was a booger. Some of this excellent quality flint, you can pick out some step fractures, but then it gets all, I don't know, ripply looking in the middle when you pick out those step fractures. They pick out pretty easily, but then you got this little chatter going on in the middle. Anyway, I would like to get some nice pressure flakes. Cover two birds with one stone, right? I can do serrations like everyone else, like everyone likes to see, and I can also do the sequential pressure flakes in between. So yeah, I probably should do it. One of the hardest points for me to make, this one that's not fluted, this type, with the combination of serrations and pressure flake and long and narrow. The long and narrow uses up a lot of my material. Okay, I think I've said that many times already. All right, so Let's see. Yeah. I've got some other stuff I got at the Knapping. Some root beer, but this has got a patina on it like it's an artifact of some sort. I think someone handed this to me. Look at that patina on there. It's very tough. I took some flakes off, and man, this is some of the toughest root beer I've ever tried. Some of the toughest I've ever tried. This was not an easy piece of Georgetown. Let's see. Yeah, I could try to make one of these out of this kind of stuff. I saved these just so I can try to work them later. That's going to be close. If I tried out of that, that'd be a rock challenge for sure. Is that translucent? Kind of, sort of. Let's see. I do have my list. All right, if you can think of anything else by request. Not a Folsom though. I don't do those. Right? If you can think of anything else, let me know. I've got a bunch of hunting points to do, so it gets kind of dull, you know. I need some distractions. Right? So just do videos. Okay. All right, we'll see you in the next video.